Hey, it's your girl Christiane here, hanging out with a flower wreath on your head like you do. I am going to talk today about my launch for Cast a Shadow of Doubt, which is the second book in the Stories of the Illyrianan series. Yes, I came up with the name for the series. Super exciting. I mean, it was already, the subtitle was a story of the Illyrianan, so it made sense, right? Sometimes the most obvious things take a little while to beat into your brain, right? Anyway, so the launch is happening on February 1st. That means that the paperback book will be ready for order, and if you order a Kindle, it will go immediately into your device. However, pre-orders are already live, which means that you can pre-order the Kindle now, and the Kindle version, and it will go into your Kindle on February 1st. Pre-ordering now is really helpful for me because it pumps my numbers up on launch day, but it's also helpful for you because you won't forget, and you'll have this delightful surprise when you open your device on February 1st and bam, there it is, the second chapter. I also have signed paperbacks on pre-order, and those you order from me, you can go through my Ko-fi account, which is kofi.com/3ravenspress. 3ravens. I don't know. I'll have the link in there. I have too many links is the problem. I'll put the link in underneath in the information so you have it. And you can go to my website and you can also get the link from there. That's christianeknight.com. I can't forget that one. It's my name. But you can go there and pre-order, and what you'll get is a signed copy of the paperback plus some fun extras. I'm not sure what those will be yet, but for In Sleep You Know, I had some really great things like bookmarks, little packages that had gifts that went along with the story of the book, including a tiny vial with some glitter in it to represent water, and some rowan beads, and a clear crystal bead, and a key, and a raven feather. And if you've read In Sleep You know what all this means. Anyway, so pre-orders, please, like I said, you can get all those links through my website, christianeknight.com. The next exciting thing pertaining to the launch is that I'll have a party happening. It will be a virtual party because, end times plague all this stuff. But it'll be on Facebook Live on February 6th. And I picked that day because it's a Sunday, it's the weekend, and more people will be able to come. It is happening at 2:30 Eastern Time. And if you miss it, it will be recorded, so you'll be able to catch it later. It won't be quite as fun because you won't be able to ask me questions then, but you can ask me questions later too, and I will answer them, I promise. I'll be taking questions. I'll talk about the Illyrianan. I'll give you little background secrets. And anything you want to ask about it, about the book, about the characters, about the Fae themselves, I'm game. As long as it's not spoilerific, we're good. Because we don't want to be mean to people like that by blowing the whole excitement of finding out the storyline, right? I'll also do a reading from Cast a Shadow of Doubt, which will be super exciting because it will be the first time I've read out loud anything from that book. So, oh, and did I mention there'll be giveaways? Definitely copies of the book. I'm not sure what else yet. Have to stay tuned. Come to the party and you'll find out. You can only get the giveaways at the party. The link for that is also on my website. That's at christianeknight.com/events, which is a brand new page that I just set up. There are some other events coming up in the next couple of months. That's it for February. I'm sorry if I keep swallowing a lot. My mouth is super dry. I don't know why. I think it's because it's just so cold and my room gets very cold. So, yeah, anyway. But events coming up. I have, besides the launch party, I also have the Baltimore Fairy Festival. That will be in April. That is April 9th. The 8th is the ball, which is the night before, and then the 9th is the actual fair. and I will be doing reading there. I will be selling books and probably some other things, some other magical type things. It should be a great time. The Baltimore fairies are awesome. Always, always so much fun. There will be music and magic and people in costume and people in their real life clothes, which are just as exciting. Um, just the best artists and musicians and creative people around. So please come to that, and you can find all the details for that on my events page as well. Beyond that, Balticon will be coming up in May. And I'm not sure after that. There's a bunch of different fairy related events locally that I'd like to go to, but I'm not sure yet how that's going to be. Right now I'm still avoiding indoor events. Balticon will be indoor, but hopefully by then things will be a lot safer as far as COVID goes. Um, for those who don't know, I am immunosuppressed, so I tend to be very careful about what kind of exposure I get. And yes, I wear masks and all that, but still, especially with Omicron, you have to be careful. So I want to make sure that it feels very safe for me because we don't need me getting sick. There won't be any more books if I get really sick, and my health is fairly fragile. So that's why. But even if I can't go, like if I can't physically go to Balticon, for example, any of the online things that will be happening, I will definitely be involved with, and I will come up with some events that I will do online to make up for it if not. Um, I'll also be virtually attending the Nebulas, which obviously I wouldn't go in person right now because it's on the other side of the country and there's no way I'm getting on a plane right now. But I recommend, if you have not attended the Nebula Conference before, I did it last year for the first time, which was their first, it was their first or their second virtual. I actually don't know, but it was fantastic. They did a wonderful job. I had a great time. I met lots of amazing people. It's not just for writers, um, but it is a very writer-centric kind of event. And it's such a great event. I really enjoyed it. What else do I have to tell you? Oh, okay. Another thing I wanted to bring up is that if you are a writer or are interested in becoming a writer, I invite you to join on my Ko-fi, and I have a membership plan that's called The Writer's Life. And I go into excruciating, embarrassing detail about all of my trials and tribulations and successes as a writer, especially in regards to being self-published. I am not afraid to answer any questions. I will lay out for you all the details, what I spend, what is a good deal, what is a waste of time, what I have found successful as far as promotion, what I have found to be a giant waste of time, um, things I'm learning, things that I have overcome that I thought were one thing but are definitely something else. All of this. Basically, I just let you into my life as a writer. It's a $7 a month membership tier, but when you join, you get everything. Right now, I actually don't have anything written up there. That's coming, but as soon as I have somebody join, I will have lots of information up there, because I have a lot to share. This is my second book. I have learned so much, and there's a lot of information out there that's not misinformation, but it's not necessarily honed for somebody who's writing genre. In my case, science fiction, fantasy. And it can be really hard to know what is good and what is not, as far as the recommendations, the advice that you get. I can tell you some really great places to hang out in for writers, and I can tell you some of the things that I thought were going to be successful for me that were not, as far as, things like writing groups, stuff like that. I have a fantastic writing group now, but it took a couple of tries to get one. Why that's important, what I did as far as looking at self-publication, why I went with Amazon for the meantime, but that may not stay, that may change, all of this. Anyway, It's wide open. You can ask me anything, and you can get there through my Ko-fi, which is, again, linked on my website. Yeah, I think it's really important to be super open about these kinds of learning experiences, because it's just so easy to get misled, and it's expensive to write a book on your own. It's expensive to be a writer. Even writers that get picked up by big houses, by publishing companies, you're not making a lot of money. None of us are rich out here. And you end up spending money of your own on things, even if you are a published writer from a publishing house. Trust me. But if you're self-published, you're doing it all yourself. So you can nickel and dime yourself to death if you're not careful and you don't do things in a way that's most effective. So that's that. One of the fun things that I did when I was writing Cast a Shadow of Doubt, I delved a lot into the whole concept of fairy food. Not fairy food as in you eat it and you're stuck with the fae forever, because for most of my characters it's too late, they're already stuck. But just the glorious celebration of the food piled on a fairy table. And what that entailed was me doing a lot of research about delicious looking food and making some of it, and exploring what would work and what wouldn't, and what would feel magical in the concept of food. There are some really great sources out there for magical foods. I can put a link or two down in the comments or whatever, but one of the things that I really enjoyed doing was testing all of it. I mean, let's be fair. I like food a lot. And there was a time when I was really sick after I got out of the hospital after my operation, where I couldn't eat for like 6 months. Nothing tasted good, which is a horrible, horrible blow to me, because I like food. Food and all the multitude of flavors out there and all the different cuisines is super exciting to me. My taste buds are very refined, and I like a lot of different tastes. So when I began to taste things again, it was a very magical feeling for me, because it was like rediscovering some of my favorites. And when I started writing these books, that kind of got revisited for me. I have a whole new appreciation for an art form that I already loved. So this book in particular, there are some really delightful food situations, and I'll be talking about that more after the book comes out, because like I said, I don't like blowing anything for people, but expect some recipes. And if you are interested in baking or cooking and like to hear more about that, one of the things that I have, again, you can get there through my Ko-fi, but you can also get there through my website. I have a Discord, and on the Discord, one of the things that I want to talk about that I have not set up yet, but I will as soon as some people come that would like to talk about it, is food, magical food. So, join my Discord. Seriously. You can get through the website. It's on, if you go to my blog page, it'll be on the sidebar. There's a big old thing that says Discord. Click on that and you'll get an invite. And if for some reason that doesn't work, comment here and let me know, and I'll send you a personal invite. It's just getting started, so it's very quiet right now. You would be one of the first people in. Isn't that exciting? I really like Discord. I have it up all the time. I chat a lot. I'm a big chatter. I have been online as a chatter since 95. Yeah. I went through all of the chat boards, all the different kinds of chats. So Discord it feels like coming home to me. It's the most like IRC out of any of the chat things I've been on in a while. And IRC was like my home base. So I'm there. I have it up all the time. If I'm not in, like if I'm not just sitting there waiting, for somebody to say something, I get a ping and I'm there right away, pretty much. So that's another great place to get a hold of me and ask me questions. I'm going to be sharing a lot more about my book there and about the whole universe, the world of the Illyrian. And so that is something else you could come join and hang out with me on. Yes. Next up, I asked for some questions from my writer's circle. We're called the Badasses because we are. And they are all obviously also writers, and two of them offered up some questions for me to answer. I took the questions, but I didn't think about them at all, so anything I say is going to be completely off the cuff, so you may get some spaces while I think about stuff, so just so you know. First question was from Tyler Woodbridge, who is the writer of the author of Down from Carlisle and All In, two books that he put out that are fantastic. He asks, as we know, art has a wondrous way of having a real-world butterfly effect. The ripples caused by the feelings we evoke have tangible results. What do you want to see your art accomplish in the meat space, so to speak? Which is a fantastic question. I mean, art has a lot of different effects on people. My biggest thing, I'm a storyteller by nature, but what I want to give to people, what I want to inspire in people the most is two things: hope and the ability to see past the everyday. Hope because we need it. I mean, we do. And I think in these times it's been really hard to hold on to hope, but there's a lot to hold on for, Even looking at all of the terrible things that have been happening and all of the challenges we've gone through recently, all of us, there is the hope of friends, family, of just possibilities. I don't know. I'm a very hopeful creature myself. I couldn't survive without that gleaming optimism. Um, some people think it's stupid. I've had plenty of people. I don't know what you're so optimistic about. Look at the world. I'm like, there's always hope. There's always hope. There's always a chance, right? So I grab onto that tiny little chance, that glimmer of possibility, and I take it and I hold it here and I keep it warm. And then once it's grown enough, I throw it back out to you through words, through stories, through my encouragement, through my unbridled enthusiasm for life and for the idea of seeing the magic lying under everything. I mean, that's really what the whole idea of Fae in the urban world is about. It's the magic underlying in, yes, the grimy surfaces, but also in the unexpected places, the liminal spaces, the brick alleys, the places where you turn a corner and suddenly, amongst all of the sad scrawls of graffiti with people's names, there's this beautiful piece of art full of color and sparkle that just excites you and makes you see those possibilities. This could be more. This could be more. That is what I want to accomplish. Thanks, Tyler, for the great question. And the next question is from C.M. Wells, who is the author of Lost in the Woods and Secrets. Two other books that I recommend highly. Secrets will be out very soon, in just a few days, I think. I will put links to both Tyler and C.M. Wells' books in this stuff down here. Anyway, she asks, how did you come across some of your favorite ideas for your book? And that is also a great question. I grew up reading everything. I am a voracious reader, but one of the things that really nurtured me as a child was fairy tales and mythology, classics, the things that, and when I say fairy tales, I mean the nitty gritty fairy tales, not just the fluffy, um, movie type fairy tales, and Irish folklore. And not just Irish folklore, I mean Celtic folklore in general, from all the different islands and countries and little places. But that general spread really kicked my imagination in, going back again to the possibilities, what we don't necessarily see, but we know, or we hope is there under the surface. And that triggered all of my storytelling, really. I write a lot of different things, but what feels the most alive to me are the stories about the mythological, the fantastical, the possibilities of beings that have more power or different powers or different ways of being in the world than we do. The monsters and the angels, I don't know. But that really inspired my stories. Coming down to more of the nitty gritty of the details, a lot of my characters and what they can do are based off of Irish fairy tales, Irish the Celtic mythology, and the folklore. The different little bits of folklore that have been collected. Some of them I've taken and kind of twisted so they are based on those things, but not quite the same. Um, like I kind of rejected that whole Seelie unseelie thing because I don't like the idea that there are two different groups and one is good and one is bad, or one is bad and one is less bad. I don't like that kind of black and white thinking, which reflects in my stories very much. Um, so I took it and I twisted it to fit more what I feel the world is like, or what I want the world to be like. And I think that shows. And you can tell when somebody else who's really liked the folk tales that I kind of picked things up from, when they catch it in the stories, because they'll come up to me and be like, I can't believe that. I can't believe you put that in there like that. It's just little details, dribs and drabs all throughout the story, with my own twists on things too. And of course, there are plenty of tropes from fantasy that I've pulled and kind of melded into what I do as well. Um, it's kind of a general answer, but I don't want to be too specific. Um, One of the biggest things that I will mention is music and magic are very tightly intertwined in my books. And that is both influenced by some of the things that I've read and some of the things that are in folklore, but also what I strongly believe personally, because I don't think you can deny that those two are entwined. If you've ever been to a concert where the musician hits a chord on their guitar and all the hair on your arm stands up and your neck prickles and you're just in that moment, because that, my friends, is magic. If you haven't experienced that, you are missing out. That's the magic that infuses everything that I do. It's why I have soundtracks for my books. It's why some of my main characters are musicians, because it is the most magical. It's not always the most magical thing, I mean, obviously, but it can be the most magical connection in the world to me. So that answers that question. And thank you, CM Wells, for that fantastic question. So I think I have rambled on enough for this episode, and I hope that I will see you at the launch party. And if not, I hope that you will be picking up a pre-order of Cast a Shadow of Doubt soon. As I said, it will be out on February 1st, but you can pick up those pre-orders now. And if you have any ideas or questions for me, ideas about what I can talk about next time on this little show, my little vlog, or questions in general, just hit me up. You can hit me in the comments. You can catch me over on my Facebook page, which is Christiane Knight Author. I say that now, as soon as I say it, I'm like, or is it the other way around? I'm terrible. Go to my website, ChristianeKnight.com. One problem is that my synapses sometimes don't always connect up right, and I can't always remember the little details. I have to write everything down when I'm going to talk because it all just goes out of my head. I did pretty well today, but I do have notes. Anyway, thanks for watching and for listening to me ramble on, and I will catch you next time. Stay magical, friends.